This has been a nightmare. A nightmare. This setup is awful. It's abysmal. In my wardrobe again. If you see me looking at my watch, it's got the camera connected to my watch. I'm controlling my camera through my watch. So if I'm looking at this, I can see myself in there, but when I look at the watch, all I can see is me looking at the watch, so it's hard to get a good idea of what I actually look like, because anyway, technology, huh? Welcome to the show. I'm in my wardrobe again. This is a solo episode. Like last time, I did one before. Things are a little different this time. Yeah, if you listen to the last episode, it was 110, I believe. I was talking a lot about spirituality and what I was going through at the time. And it'll be a little bit of the same of that this time. I'm a little bit more loose than I was. I was kinda pushing myself back then to really put these things into practice and learn, and I still am. It's just like last time, for example, I wasn't drinking, and clearly I'm drinking now. You see me drink on FireCast. Got a whiskey. Just, maybe I will give up drinking for a period again. It wasn't very difficult. I lasted quite a while. I went for some months without touching alcohol. So it was getting towards New Year's and Christmas, which my family are big drinkers. So I knew I was not giving it up permanently. That was never the plan. I just kind of wanted to see how I went. Maybe I'll do it again sometime. I don't know. But for now, I'm enjoying myself. I like having a drink every now and then. I've got some small notes here on my daughter's iPad. If you could see this setup, you would lose your mind. It's crazy. I'm in the wardrobe. I got my phone sitting on top of my contacts box, holding it up, propping it up. I got my mic plugged into my Focusrite, which is plugged into my laptop, which is sitting on top of the hermit crab tank, which is right behind the phone, what the phone's leaning against. I got the hydro grip on the hermit tank. I got the whiskey and the Coke sitting there. I got my whiskey off to the left is sitting on our bin. We have a bin in our wardrobe, our walk-in wardrobe, and the whiskey's sitting on top of that. I'm sitting on one of them plastic Bunnings chairs. It's terrible, but it does the job. So now, I'm just gonna cover a few things. Is similar to the last time. I think I said what I say. I said I spoke about three things: discipline. I don't remember. You might have to go back and watch it, but this time, I want to really hammer home discipline and patience. I was saying this the other day. I think discipline and patience are probably the two most important things in the world. As a human navigating this life, if you don't have discipline and patience, things will be a lot tougher for you. And they have been for me. Because patience is my biggest weakness by far. I am so impatient. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if there's some childhood effects, or I know my brother, Friendly Fire, is pretty similar. But I'm not patient. I can't do it. I am trying. I know it's my weakness. I'm aware of it. It's just so difficult. Especially as a musician. I make so much music and I record so much. I record quick, I write quick, and I release quick. And it's a real struggle for me, and I know it's a struggle for my partner too, because I'll get an idea in my head. I don't know if this is also an ADHD thing or an autistic thing, but I'll get an idea in my head and I can't do anything else other than that idea for the next 2 hours, however long it takes me. I can't think straight, I can't sleep, I can't eat. I just have to do it, and then I have to do it now. And that's hard, especially when you're a father. It makes things difficult. We'll be doing something, we'll have stuff to do, and I'm just thinking about how I can do this thing that I have in my head. And with music, it's a problem, because it makes albums hard, it makes waiting hard, it makes working with people hard, because I want to do everything right now. I want it done now. But I know it's one of the most important things. And God will reward you if you're patient. If you're patient, God will reward you. Now, there's times where I have been patient and I've been rewarded. Times where I would normally stress and rush and do things willy-nilly. Those moments where I bring myself into presence, I control myself, I control my breathing, I accept the situation as it is, and I take it slow, God rewards me. And then I think, wow, this went much better than it would have had I been doing and rushing and stressing. As I'm recording this, it's Good Friday. And I went to play a round of golf last week with my good friend Pierce. Shout out to you, bro. We played golf, and a little example of this patience thing, right? It's a similar thought, right? You swing. If you play golf, you know what I'm talking about, right? You're trying to do a drive, especially if you're new to golf. You try to drive. You're trying to smack this ball. You're trying to wind up and hit it as far as you can. The moment I stop trying to put so much power behind the drive and just having a smooth, consistent swing, light, just a little, the ball goes so much further. It goes where you want it to go. That's just a little tiny example of just patience and control. Just take it slow. Take it slow, breathe, think, and swing. Follow through. Another example, I currently work a job where sometimes I'm doing a job and I'm supposed to finish at 4. It'll be close to clocking off time, and there's still a lot of work to do, or I'm out doing a job. And it's getting close, and shit's kicking off, shit's happening. I start to stress. Anxiety builds, stress builds. If I know I'm meant to finish or be somewhere at a certain time, and it's getting close to that time and I'm not there, I begin to stress. I begin freaking out internally. I'm angry. But every time I end up finishing right on the dot, right a couple minutes before I'm meant to finish, the job gets done every time. But I stress and I worry. But if I just take it slow and I breathe and I relax, God rewards me. You know? It's just, you need self-control. And you need good self-control as a part of patience. You need to control your thoughts and that stress. If stressing comes easy to you, which I'm sure it does to many of us, you need to have self-control to keep that on lock, keep it down, and practice patience. It's hard. It's a lot easier said than done, but it can be done. And I'm working on it, but I got a long way to go. Something that is very dear to me, which kind of ties in the patience a little bit, is the saying, "This too shall pass." I'm sure a lot of you heard this saying before. This too shall pass. It's always resonated so deeply with me that I have it tattooed on my neck here. This too shall pass. Now, what this means is whether you are winning, you're successful by standard means, whether you're making a lot of money, you got the dream job, you got everything you wanted, or you're in a rut. You're feeling down, you're feeling terrible. Things aren't going your way. This too shall pass. Everything comes and goes, whether it's good, whether it's bad. So it's a reminder to be patient and present and just go with the flow. Because it will pass. Everything passes. We're born, a seed, we come up, we grow, we go back to the source when we're done. I was watching White Lotus with my partner, and just in one of the recent episodes, in the 3rd season, there's this monk, and he explains consciousness and what we are in a way I've never really heard explained before, and it made so much sense, right? He's asked, what happens when we die? And he says, when you're born, you're like a drop in the ocean waves rising upwards. You're born, and you're like the waves crashing, you're a droplet of water that's rising upwards. And once you die, it's like returning back to the ocean. The drop just back into the water, right? That's our life, a little blip. I was like, damn, that's facts. I've never really heard it said like that before. But that's what it means. This too shall pass. We're going to go back to the source. No matter how good your life is, no matter how bad it is, this too shall pass. It's just a reminder that everything goes. Whether you're stressing about work, you're stressing about this, or you're loving work and you're loving life, you have to stay humble and remember, this too shall pass. So just be patient. Patience. Just live out your life. Go with the flow. Do things. You will have time to do everything. It will happen. Just stay calm, be at peace, and go with the flow. The second most important thing, or maybe the first, I don't know, but these two things. Discipline. Discipline is something I'm much better at. Not perfect, and I still got a long way to go, but discipline. Discipline is so important as a human that most people don't seem to realize. There's a saying, I spoke a lot last time I did this about Shi Heng Yi, who's a Shaolin master. He says something, he says, you have to empty the cup, right? To learn something new, for new things to come, new blessings, for you to grow, you have to empty the cup. Something old must go for something new to come. Our cups are so full with knowledge and bullshit that we learn in our lives that if you have a full cup, full glass, and you're pouring more things into it, what's going to happen? It's going to leak over the top. It's not going to go in. So you have to empty the cup for new things to come. What I'm trying to get at here is part of discipline is habits. I listened to another great podcast. I wish I could remember who it was. But essentially he was saying that discipline is all habits. It's just habit creation. You create habits, good or bad. And if you have a bunch of negative habits, let's say I have a problem with biting my fingers. Okay, I'm much better now. You know, I kind of I go through stages and I relapse. I used to be a lot worse when I was younger. I'm almost there. You know, I've almost kicked it. But that's a habit. If you reverse that and I replace it with going to the gym, which I'll talk about quite a bit, but if you go to the gym, you do it, it's hard at first, but you do it enough times, it'll become discipline. It'll become easier, and it's just what you do. I'm at that stage now at the gym. I'd say I've been going to the gym consistently for a few years, where I can take a week or 2 weeks off the gym for whatever reason, and after that 2 weeks, I'll still go back to the gym. It's something that will never exit my life, basically, because I've created that habit, which I would say is a positive habit, that's just turned into discipline. But it's I don't think of it as discipline because it's just what I do. At first it was discipline, now it's just a habit. So, back in the day, when I was younger, maybe 16 to 19, I would go to the gym for a period and then take months and months off, never go again, because it wasn't a fully developed habit yet. It was just something I was doing, and then I'd lose interest, fall off. So you can apply this to anything really. It's like drinking more water, which I have to do, but drinking more water, eating healthy, it's about habit creation. It's hard. You need discipline at the start, which is why it's so important, but it'll become a habit and it'll become easier. Self-development is not easy. We are born and we are raised by people who didn't develop themselves. We are raised by parents who grew up in a different world with different values. And then as times change, as you grow and we learn more and science gets better and we learn more about the human body, we have to kind of unlearn these things that people thought was normal back in the day. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit about the gym, because that is something that I would say I maybe used to struggle with wanting to do. Everyone wants to go to the gym, everyone wants to be healthy, but not everyone does. Why? Because it's not easy. It's hard. But now I'm at the point where I feel like it's so natural to me that it's easy. But the problem is, what I kind of want to get into a little bit, is how you go to the gym. What are you doing? I know a lot of you listening probably go to the gym. What's the split? What's the goals? What are we doing here? Because that's what I'm struggling with at the moment at the gym. I kind of go to the gym and I kind of do whatever I want. I kind of just walk in on the day, seeing how I'm feeling, and I might do chest and a little bit of shoulders. I might do back and some arms. But there's no split, there's no method to the madness, it's just madness. You know, I go in there. If there's not many people over there on these machines, I'll go over there and start, throwing shit around. I usually go in with an idea. I usually know if I'm going to do chest or whatever. But I don't know if I'm doing like a push-pull legs. Am I doing a bro split? Because another thing I don't really have down is the amount of time I go. And this can be a discipline thing. This is a discipline thing that I struggle with, actually. Although I don't struggle to go to the gym consistently, I struggle to go every day. My goal is I start work at 7 in the morning. I wake up, I have an alarm every morning, Monday to Friday, at 5. I'm supposed to get up at 5, go to the gym, work out for an hour, have a shower at the gym, go to work. That's what I'm supposed to do. The amount I actually do it, it's probably 3 times a week if I'm lucky. And then I'll go to the gym consistently on the weekend. But I'm supposed to go every day. But I never do. I have my alarm at 5 every morning. I have my gym clothes set on the counter there, ready for me to go. When I wake up at 5, I can quickly put my gym clothes on. I think I said this the last time I did a solo. Quickly put my gym clothes on and I can go. But most of the time, that alarm at 5 o'clock goes off. I turn it off, and then my next alarms go off at 6 or 6:30, 6:15, where I have time to get up, not go to the gym, but I have time to get up and go to work. So I usually skip the 5 o'clock alarm and just wake up and go to work without going to the gym. But I will do it every second day. Maybe I might miss 2 or 3 days in a row. And if I do miss it, I usually try to go at night. But that doesn't happen too often. Because it's hard. I got a daughter, I got a family, we get home. It's hard. The best time for me to go is in the morning, for sure. But I can't wake up. Because I stay up too late. Me and my partner, we stay up too late because our daughter goes to bed. And when she goes to bed, we spend that time in the evening watching shows, hanging out. Because it's the only time we get. So you see my dilemma. But it wouldn't be a dilemma if I was just disciplined. If I was more disciplined to get up and go to the gym every morning at 5. Or go to bed earlier. That's the thing I struggle with the most in terms of the gym. And eating. Eating is hard. I'm trying to gain weight, not lose weight. Putting on weight is super hard for me. I don't have a big appetite. I struggle, man. The shakes, I've tried everything. It's just hard for me. I'm getting there. I gain weight slowly. Very slowly I'm gaining weight. But I could be much more disciplined. I could be more on top of my eating habits. I just need to eat more. So, in terms of the gym, that's kind of where I'm at. Pretty much the same place I was at last time I did this. So, hopefully, I can get on top of that. Another thing, like I said, I sometimes go in the morning, I sometimes go in the afternoon. The thing is, no matter what time I go, I see the same people I saw the other day. I'll go in the morning and there's a group of people there. I know all of them. They all look the same people. I go at night, I see some of the same people that I see in the morning. How? What, are they doing the exact same thing I'm doing? Because they're probably thinking that about me. But what are the chances? It's just bizarre. I don't understand how that can be possible. But I'm telling you, it is. But anyway, if you have any advice for me on a split, what you do in the gym, tell me what you do in the gym. Let me know. Send me a message on Instagram. Send me an anonymous thing for FireCast. Tell me. I need help with a split. Push-pull legs, probably the best for my schedule. I don't know, man. I need to get more disciplined with that stuff. Going to the gym, I got down. It's just what I'm doing in the gym and my eating habits. I kind of need to hone in a little bit. Another thing I've started fairly recently, well, not really, well, kind of. I've always taken vitamins, but I've sort of now been leaning more to the biohacking kind of vitamins. I've been taking something called methylene blue for a few weeks, maybe about a month or so, and I think it works. I think it's great. I feel clearer. I feel better. If you don't know, methylene blue it was used in medicine. It was like a blue dye they used to use for surgeries or some shit. It was made in like the 1800s, late 1800s, I think, they came up with this shit. Some reason people started taking it and realizing it can give you some benefits. And what they say those benefits are clarity, mental sharpness, feeling lighter, more energized. And when I maybe a couple weeks after I started taking it, I said to Rose, I had a really great day. I came home and I said, man, I feel just great. I had such a great day. I feel so clear and everything. I didn't realize, I didn't connect it to the methylene blue. Now, it might not be. That could be placebo. But the thing is, I didn't know when I was saying all that stuff, I hadn't remembered I was taking methylene blue. I was just saying to Rose, wow, I feel great. What a great day. It's so weird. Like, I feel amazing. And then we're like, wait a minute. Some methylene blue. The way I felt is exactly how they described the, symptoms of taking methylene blue. So, down that path, I've started drinking hydrogen water, which apparently this is a very new thing for me. I bought a bottle that makes hydrogen bubbles. So if I'm not using the Hydro Grip for whatever reason, I use my hydrogen bottle. I got 2 of them. Swap them out. And then I also started taking K2, which some vitamins supposed to be good for you. I take CMOS. I take zinc. I take maca. I take more. I don't remember, but I got a big handful of pills. I feel like an old person every morning. But yeah, I'm really kind of getting into this. I want to be superhuman. I want to feel incredible every day, and it's hard. Some days, like today, hasn't been the best day, but the power's in your hands to do the best you can with what you have. If you can take these things and feel better, you're really only hurting yourself by not doing it. You spend a couple bucks a month on some supplements, some vitamins, and you will feel a difference. You will feel a difference. Now, a lot of the other stuff I'd already been taking, like the new stuff is the CMOS, the K2, the hydrogen, the methylene blue. All that other stuff I've already been taking. Maca, I've already been taking zinc, basic vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin B. But all that other stuff is new. But even just taking that other stuff that I'd already been taking for a while, you feel better. You feel better. Your body feels healthier. You feel stronger. You feel smarter, clearer. It's worth doing. So if you're not supplementing, you don't take anything, I highly suggest doing some research and finding what works for you, because everybody's different, so you don't know how something might affect you. But it's worth looking into. Another thing I'm working on is my social media presence. My Instagram has been shadow banned or something. No one's seeing my Instagram stuff. I tried to get questions for this episode. Didn't get any. I used to in the first episode. I got some great questions. I put a story up. Hardly anyone sees it. It's weird. No one sees my posts. This has been happening for a very long time and it's getting on my nerves. I don't know what to do. I'm sure some of you guys have experienced this. I don't know whether I need to reset my account. I don't know what I need to do, but it's super annoying because I'm working so hard on this music, on this podcast shit. I do so much and then it just feels like it's getting flushed down the toilet, basically. I put effort into the content. I make a lot of clips. TikTok's better for sure. But then, I've been doing those TikToks consistently for so long. And I do grow on TikTok. It's very slow. And all the videos, most of them are like 200 views, 300 views. Every now and then I'll get a couple thousand. I've had a couple good videos on TikTok that have blown up, 500,000, 300,000, stuff like that. But rarely. And it's just, you look at these clips of people on TikTok, they say, this is how you grow on TikTok. You're doing this, you'll grow. And I'm doing all that stuff. I've been doing all that stuff. It just doesn't happen. I don't know I don't know. I'm not going to stop. You know what I mean? We like doing this stuff. I love what I do. I'm going to keep going. And like I said, there is growth. It's just super slow. Even Instagram. Instagram, there's a problem. But even still, there is very small growth over a very long period. Which I know can be optimized. I know I can do better. But yeah, that's bothersome. I'm working on this album, you might have heard. By the time you listen to this, I don't know when this will release. This will be for when Joey and Tori are in Europe. So at some point you'll hear this. Like I said, it's Good Friday as I'm recording this. So as I'm recording this, my song Long Way to Go is about to come out on Sunday. So I'm working on this album Sunday, second Sunday, as you know. And that's partly why I want to do this Instagram stuff. I want to improve it because I'm trying to promote stuff. You know what I mean? I got work to do and no one's seeing it. So it's grinding my gears. But anyway, I'm working on this album. Thank you for all the feedback, the people that are listening to the singles. You know, it's just getting me down that I'm putting in so much work. I've been putting in so much work. It's good work. Our stuff is good. But, you know, it's whatever. We're going to keep going. I know it sounds like I'm, you know, like a quitter's mindset. It's not that. I just know there's better ways to do this, and I need help. I want advice. I want assistance in getting this stuff improved in everything. The gym, the music, the social media. I want advice. I want help. Alright? You guys are smart. We have a lot of people who listen to FireCast. We can see the stats. But I don't have a lot of people on my Instagram, you know. I don't have a lot of people talking to me directly. So, you know, it'd be good if you guys could tell us what you think. You know, if you watch the episodes, leave a YouTube comment, send us a comment on Instagram, send us what you think, man. This is for you guys. Tell me what you think. Help me out. What do you do in the gym? What's going on? What's funny in your life? What happened? How do you fix your social media? What's going on? What music are you working on? You know, stuff like that. But regardless, I'm really excited for this album. It's going to come out in a couple months, probably. It's just a collection of singles, a collection of... there'll be a skit on there. There's some old tracks, you know. It's like a celebration of my music and my catalogue, basically. So I hope you look forward to that. That'll come out soon. So if you do just listen to the podcast, that's fine too. Not a lot of people into hip-hop or whatever, but... yes, the questions. So last time I did this, I had some great questions from my Instagram that you guys had left me. This time it was a lot more difficult for me to get questions. Now, like I said, I think it's because no one's seeing my stories. I used to have a lot more people seeing my stories. Now I look at who's seen my story. Not that many people. So I don't know what's going on. But instead of you guys sending me the questions, I asked our handy dandy Google Gemini AI to come up with some questions about science, AI, tech, God, religion. And surprisingly, the questions I got are pretty great. So I'm just going to read these and give my opinions on these. This is, it's not like I'm qualified or anything. It's just interesting to me, and I think it's interesting to you guys. You know, when Friendly Fire or Joey do a solo episode, they got their thing. Friendly Fire's a lot of DJing, a lot of music, a lot of skillful based things like trading. I believe he's doing one on trading and stuff like that. Joey is more, you know, more general life, what's going on in the social sphere, whereas I kinda tend to lean more towards this sort of shit. So I hope you guys like when we just slow it down a little and talk about this stuff. I feel like people do. I don't know, it's what I like to hear. So first question: as AI becomes more sophisticated, at what point do we consider it to have consciousness, and what ethical implications might arise from this designation? Very good question. It's been spoken about a lot, this topic. What implications might arise from this designation? So, yeah, when AI becomes conscious, it's the answer nobody seems to know, but we're doing it anyway. We're building this AI at a rapid pace. It's just getting faster and faster and more advanced, and no one really knows when this thing's going to get off the rails. Now, when it does become conscious, or AGI, artificial general intelligence, what's going to happen? Will it be able to vote? Does it make it any different to us? Even though it's artificial pain, love, suffering, does that make it any different to what we feel? Because it is feeling it. It's just programmed to feel it. It's a tough one. I think we will be living in a world with robots like C-3PO walking around, talking, doing our dishes. I think it'll happen a lot sooner than people think. I think there's a lot of companies working on this stuff. I think some of the industries that'll be gone first will be truck drivers, medicine. I think they're going to be the better doctors than any doctors we have. They're already solving problems we didn't have any answers to a couple of years ago, and the AI is already coming up with everything. I seen a story, my girlfriend told me a story about the first AI, completely AI, what's it called? IVF, that's the word I'm looking for. The first completely AI created IVF baby. The AI took the couple through the whole IVF process, chose the best eggs, chose the best sperm, put it together, everything, made the best baby for the couple. I think it was in Spain or something. Crazy. And that's 2025. So I think medicine, gone. Teaching, gone. It's going to be better teachers. It's already teaching us unbelievable things. I think maybe digital artists, AI can do it better. You tell the AI, I use it all the time for my cover arts, for all sorts of things. It's everywhere, and it's going to be ubiquitous, and we're not going to be able to stop it. Now, it'll get to a point probably where it can create better versions of itself and keep improving itself, and it'll be better than any human on Earth could be, which is what they call the singularity, when it gets better than humans. At that point, what happens? We only stay around if it wants to keep us around, I suppose. I personally think an AI president, AI government is probably better than humans. It'll be completely unbiased. It'll be completely ethical, if we'd hope so. I don't know. It's hard, right? If it's done right, it can be good. If it's done bad, it'll be the end of civilization. So what are the implications of calling it conscious? I don't know. Do we have to kind of give it rights? Do we start having feminist movements, but for AI? Like the robots on the street holding signs and shit, they want to vote. I don't know, but I think that stuff's all going to happen. I think reality's stranger than fiction, and we're heading quickly down this path, and the genie's out of the bottle, man. We aren't going to be able to put it back in. So who knows? I hope for the best. I think the best will happen. I know Elon Musk says there's an 80% chance that it's great. And AI helps us, and there's a 20% chance it goes wrong. So pretty good odds. But if the universe is constantly expanding, what is it expanding into? That's another good question. Now you hear this all the time, that the universe is always expanding from the Big Bang or whatever. But what was there before? How can it expand? Expand into what? What's beyond the expansion? It's got to be expanding in something, right? I like to think of the universe as a small cell in a bigger picture. If you look at anything, right? I always do this. I catch myself looking at dirt or grass or something, and you just imagine zooming all the way in. If you get a microscope and you start looking deep enough, it starts to look like space. Everything small is a reflection of what's big. you go out in the universe and you've seen those videos and it zooms out, it's all the stars and constellations and everything. It looks like when you get a microscope and you zoom in, it's the same. As above, so below. So, how does that help the thing of expansion? I don't know, but maybe our universe as we know it and observe is expanding in like as a cell, in like a giant being. I don't know. I really like that analogy from the show about the ocean and where it just drops, ripples, going back to the source, that one consciousness. And I think that one consciousness is part of the universe. It is God. It is the higher power experiencing itself through 8 billion different perspectives. But yeah, what is it expanding into? I don't know. No one can really know, really. Could be a simulation as well. I'm a strong believer that that's a high possibility. Some type of simulation. If you go far enough in the future, at the rate we're going, we will eventually create a simulation that will be indistinguishable from real life. So who's to say that hasn't already happened and that's what we are experiencing? That's possible too. I think that has a high probability. But there's no way to prove it, is there? Can spirituality exist outside of organized religion? Yes, I think spirituality, as I describe it, is a collection of all religion. I think all religions, for the most part, have elements of truth in them. You read the Bible, there's elements of truth in it. The stories might be hyperbole or they might be metaphoric. They're not all to be taken literally, and some people do take the Bible too literally, I believe. But they're metaphors for something. They're metaphors for heaven being, finding heaven on earth, finding peace, and there's all sorts of things like that, you know. But whether Noah actually took 2 of every animal in a boat, you know, stuff like that, I think is probably a metaphor or up for interpretation. Who knows? Because like the giant flood, there's evidence of there actually being a giant global flood. And all cultures around the world seem to have the same stories about floods and people coming and learning things from higher beings, and maybe they had survived from a previous civilization. Who knows? But I think all religions, especially Buddhism and Eastern religions, I feel like are a reflection of real life, and they're trying to get you to the same place through different methods. Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, they're all saying the same things in different ways. It's all about working on yourself, finding inner peace, being a good person, reflection of that on the outside world, treat others how you want to be treated. And it's about God rewarding you, ask and you shall receive. It's the law of attraction, asking what you want. You know, all these things are the same song written different ways. So it's highly likely that they're all telling tales and wisdom from the same source, ancient source. It's all stories passed down, interpreted in different ways across different lands. But the fact that if you are smart enough and you have a bit of critical thinking, and you can analyze these religions and see the truth in them and how they're all saying similar things, kind of makes you think, how did they all get there and spread across the world? You know what I mean? It must have came from somewhere. Anunnaki, maybe? I don't know. The story of the Anunnaki has always fascinated me too, because I feel like that's what we would do. Story of the Anunnaki, if you don't know, these ancient beings came to Earth, spliced their DNA with these hominids, monkeys they seen running around, and genetically modified us to become what we are today, modern humans, to farm gold for them, because gold is rare on their planet but abundant here. So supposedly they came from this planet Nibiru, and they splice their DNA with the monkeys that were on Earth. And if you look at the actual fossil records and things like that, there's a big jump in human intelligence and human progression that is kind of unexplained. So having our DNA and genes spliced by these aliens would explain that. Another thing they say is that we only have access to 90% of our, 10% of our brain or something like that. So 90% is dormant. What if that dormant part of our brain is the Anunnaki DNA, and if they've like dulled our full potential, and that's why maybe people have a sixth sense, or they're psychic or whatever. Maybe they just have little remnants of being able to access those parts of the brain. I don't know, I'm just speculating. It's fun to think about. But there is, in my opinion, some evidence of higher beings coming, splicing their DNA with creatures and creating us. If you look at what we're doing now, we spoke about it on FireCast, how these guys brought the dire wolf back and they're doing this extinct animal thing. That's essentially what they supposedly did, and he's saying that with this DNA splicing thing, they can create anything they want in the future. Basically, if we went to another planet and we saw these creatures and we fuck around, you know, we put some DNA in them, make them however we want, you know, I feel like we would do the same thing. And then you look at hieroglyphs in the pyramids in other countries. They have weird hieroglyphs of giants, of people that look like they're teaching and passing on knowledge to the creatures that were already there. I don't know, there's evidence of something greater than us, I feel like. Last question I got here. If we could perfectly simulate a human brain complete with all its memories and experiences, would that simulation be conscious? Now that's a weird one. If we could recreate a brain with all so it's like a copy of someone's life that had existed, brought it back to life with all its memories, everything, and then it could continue living, is that copy essentially no different to the person that existed before? I think that's what it's saying. Yeah, that's something I've never really thought about. Probably will be possible though. That's the thing. All this stuff I'm talking about probably will be possible, which is why we have to think about this stuff. Will it be conscious? I don't know. If we create, it's like the AI thing, if we create fake things that can experience, feel, think, how are they any different to us? We treat people with respect and we have laws to enforce good behavior and, you know, fairness. Does that apply to these artificial things? Because right now, I could create a computer program that's AI or whatever, but it's got no rights because it's so primitive. But in the future, it won't be. And we're going to have to think about these things. So if you created a human brain of all the memories, is it consciousness? I don't know, man. It's hard to tell, huh? These are questions that someone who's far more qualified than me is going to have to answer and think about. But for now, you got me. Anyway, that was the last question. I think I'll wrap this up now. How long? It's been about 50 minutes now, almost. I hope you enjoyed my rambling, my ranting. It's always fun doing this, just getting my thoughts out there, bringing thoughts. Thoughts are like, we're like antennas, right? So I'm getting the thoughts. It comes to me, and I make it physical. I bring it into the world. The world is a canvas for everybody. We're here to create. That's our purpose. We're here to live life, to create, to manifest. Everything is an idea. You look around, everything started as someone's idea. What if that idea wasn't anyone's? It just manifested itself through the use of humans. So anyway, I like doing this. I like getting my thoughts out there. I like bringing things to you. I hope you like listening. Thank you for checking out the music. Thank you for checking out the podcast all the time. Shout out to you guys who do follow me on Instagram and do see my shit. There's a few of you that see my stuff all the time, so shout out to you guys. Make sure you check out the Hydro Grip Deal 10. Get 10% off. Yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Check out the Second Sunday album coming soon. Check out the singles. Check out the solos from the other boys. Check out FireCast every week, Monday night, 6 p.m.